Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to Wingate Solutions. I hope you're doing well. Today's video is going to be kind of an arts and crafts video where I'm going to be doing some painting. All right, let's get into it. You guys have been following the channel for a little bit now. You know, I've done a couple paint videos where I got a little more lost in the weeds on how I do it. So if you want to watch those, go ahead. This one's going to be a little less detailed. I'll still give some tips and tricks along the way, but I'm going to try to make it a little more efficient. Beautiful day out today, so it's kind of perfect to be out here and get some painting done. Just painting my Ruger American bolt action. This gun's awesome. I'm going to bring it out on the channel a little more coming up. But I just figured it's time to give it a fresh paint job because I have some things like the Arca rail, bipod mount, different scope on it, things. And just in general, I've painted this rifle a few years ago, so it'd just be fun to paint it. But suppressor is going to get painted. I run this can on bolt guns almost entirely now, so not really that big of a deal to paint it. I know some people are concerned about the paint cooking off, and it absolutely can happen, especially if you guys are running like machine guns or like force reset triggers, that sort of thing. If you're going to be mag dumping an AR, you'll cook the paint off, or it'll definitely patina and change it. To me, it's not a big deal. The way I'm shooting my guns, I'm not really shooting them enough to really get the paint cooking off too fast. And when it does, it's really not that big of a deal. Just throw some more paint on, or just let it stay the way it looks. Kind of gives it a cool look to it. But I'm going to be painting this Sandman S. This is just a 30 cal can. I run this on my bolt guns, but it's been modified by Echo Machine to be hub compatible because I run all the Plan B muzzle devices. Awesome. I love it. Unfortunately, Echo Machine's not doing any more conversions right now because they're too busy just making suppressors. So it's kind of a tease for you. If anybody knows anyone else that is doing suppressor conversions and they're actually reputable, throw it down in the comments so guys can potentially use them, just because it'd be cool to have another shop that is reputable that can do conversions, because guys have a lot of old cans that they want to get out of a proprietary mount. Like even the chemo mounting system it's functionally fine. I just got away from it just because I really love the hub compatible stuff and the ability to like future proof or be able to change mounts as I go down the road. Especially like a Sandman S can is super durable. It's an awesome suppressor, but the mounting system is where it would probably fail, if anything. Or guys that have the old like AAC type cans, the 51 tooth cans, it's nice to be able to modernize those cans. So if anybody has anybody that they trust that people can kind of vet or look into that can do suppressor conversions, throw it down in the comments. That'd be cool. Anyway, I'll get back to the purpose of the video. I'm gonna throw some paint on this thing. Got an Arkin LH4 on here. I'll do another review video of these coming up. I have no affiliation with Arkin, but I absolutely love these LH4 scopes. I really just wish they'd come out with like a 2-to-10 version of this exact scope. Exact same turrets, same or similar reticle, maybe a little bit of a redesign so it would work well on like a 2X. Because here at 4-to-16, it works perfect for me down at 4 power, but it might be a little fine at 2 power. I'll get into a more like legitimate video or review on this soon. If you guys want that, let me know. But I have a bunch of them now. I really like them for the money, especially if you have a few rifles you need to throw the scope on. You want to kind of stay consistent. That's how I am. I got a few of these now, and they're running great. Anyway, Ruger American getting some paint today. Let's get after it. All right, real quick before I start, I know the camera angle is probably a little weird. Hopefully you guys can kind of see. I don't know if the sun's like almost too directly on these right now. These are two rifles if you want to kind of get an idea of my style I've just done recently. I should have brought you guys along for these rifles, but I did not. But I kind of have a unique way of painting. It's very easy. You can do it. You can kind of put your own spin on it. It's very random. I don't try to get a very specific pattern, and they always end up pretty cool. So here's like one version I did last week. Came out pretty awesome. And here's another similar one, just with a little bit different tones, as you guys can kind of see. Just so you have kind of an idea what my paint jobs look like. They're pretty cool. I've been painting guns for a long time, so I've kind of got a little bit of a knack for it at this point. But the way I do it, like even if you've never painted a gun before, you can do it this way. You just got to get a couple cans of like flat camo colored spray paints and some fabric, or I mean, you can do it with leaves, you can do it with any kind of cardboard stencils. It's pretty dummy proof if you want this style of paint job. All right, now we're officially going to do it. All right, guys, here's an assortment of colors I'm going to use. I'm not really sure what order or what colors I'm going to use specifically yet, but I know I'm going to get a lot of questions, and I don't want to go too deep into the colors. I did that a little bit in my other videos. If you want to check those out, you can. But I would start with just getting some Rust-Oleum camo colors or the Krylon or something like that. If you're just starting out, just get a handful of the colors they offer at like Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot, and you'll be good. Just make sure they're flat. You don't want any shine to the paint, so you don't want gloss, semi-gloss. I try to stay away from satin even. I want flat. So the flat camouflage colors are the way to go. You can't get Airvo anymore. The replacement for these now is Rapco. I haven't tried them out yet. I got to order some and try them. But Rapco seems to have all of the colors that Airvo used to have. Like some of the ones you guys are going to want if you're really trying to make some cool camo patterns would be like their earth red, earth yellow, and field drab is probably one of the historically like coolest colors you can get. It's kind of like a coyote / green color. Field drab's awesome. It doesn't actually look like the cap color, but I'll use it today. You guys can see. So I would go to Rapco if you want to like order some cool colors, or just get some Rust-Oleum or Krylon. But it really doesn't matter specifically what colors you guys are using. I'm going to throw them on pretty random just so you guys can kind of see. So what I use for the actual patterns, I use fabric. So just go to like a Joann's Fabric or like a Walmart, wherever you can get some kind of lacy material, or even like a Goodwill, find like an old wedding dress or something, as silly as that sounds. Or you could just use mesh like laundry bag, or you could use leaves, ferns, things like that. But I just use some kind of fabric because it gives a cool pattern, and you'll kind of see that in a few minutes. Obviously wear gloves if you don't want your hands all covered in paint, and if you're somewhere where you don't have a lot of ventilation, I'd wear a mask of some sort. All right, guys, quick side note. Some of you guys know, if you've been watching the channel for a little bit, that I have a gear company, Wingate Solutions. It's kind of the purpose of the YouTube channel. I like bringing you guys content. I like bringing you guys some like education on some things and some reviews, but it's also to passively market my business. But we make 2-point minimalist rifle slings. We call it our Freedom Sling. Also make a sling retention strap. Right here it is shown stowed on the rifle with that sling retention strap. It's a real awesome product. There's a lot of them on the market. This is just our version of it, and it works the best for me. I'm kind of biased because it's mine, but I made it because I like it, and you guys might too. So feel free to check it out. Links down in the description for the website. But pretty simple. I can just pull this elastic here. The sling deploys a little loose in here. I swim into it. Now I'm ready to go. This is just our sling. Real simple. There's a lot of them on the market, pretty similar. This is just ours, but it's minimalist, quick adjust. Kind of does everything I need. Nothing I don't. Kind of no frills type of sling. But if it's something you're in the market for, consider checking it out. I appreciate you guys. All right, guys, I'm going to start with this Rust-Oleum flat sand. It's really not a big deal what color you use as the base coat. I've done a lot of different ones over the years. You don't have to start light. Some guys like to start light and go dark. I just kind of change it up. I'm going to start with this, then I'm going to do some stripes, some other colors, then I'm going to get into the fabric. All right, let's do it. I know we didn't talk about prep at all, because this is just going to be a quick video. Like I said in the other videos, prep work's kind of personal preference. Some guys don't even like to do any prep work. They just tape off and paint. I like to wipe down with some kind of acetone or like denatured alcohol, something like that, and then tape off anything you don't want to get painted. It's kind of obvious. I skipped all that as far as the video goes, because I want this one to be a little more concise, even though I'm still getting a little wordy. Anyway, prep work, I didn't talk about it. Just tape off stuff you don't want to paint. Anyway, let's go. Kind of spritz it on me. It happens, not the world. All right, next, some of this ultra flat Krylon brown. I'm just gonna do some random stripes just to break up the pattern. All right, next up is this Bear Premium Terracotta Flat. I think you can get these at Home Depot. They have some different colors. Just make sure you get flat. This one's a little bit different of a color, but as you can even see, maybe you can, maybe you can't on the ground. There's a lot of leaves and things in my environment that do have different orange tones. So I like adding a little bit of touch of orange. I'm gonna do the same thing, just some stripes just to break up the pattern, add a little bit of like undertones. This stuff looks pretty wild in the beginning, and then it looks cool as we go. All right, next a little bit of this Airvo Earth Yellow, another cool tone. Doesn't really, you don't really need it. You really can get away with just using green, brown, khaki, maybe another tone or two of one of those that you find. But I like adding some of these more unique colors. All right, here's where I start using the fabric, and I'm just using random colors. This is just something goofy, like a roof paint, but it works really well for me. I've been doing this long enough to kind of just trust these. This paint's kind of weird. I have to spray it on a certain way so that it doesn't glob or get too thick, but it does come out flat. It's like, again, like a darker terracotta color. I like it. You don't need to use it. All right, cool. As you guys see, that's the first layer of adding more of a pattern. Just make sure if you're hanging your rifle, I like to hang it just because it's kind of an easy way for me to do it hands-free. Make sure you kind of get the different angles up and down. It's easy to just spray it one way and realize you forgot like all the undersides. So make sure you kind of go back and hit things that are hard to see from the angle you're at. But hopefully you can start to see where this is going. I like to use maybe some of these more unique colors first, so that as I add the more normal browns and greens on the top, at the end, it blends all this together, because obviously the last colors you're going to use are going to be the most defined. Cool. Moving on. Oh, and the other thing, you can see the fabric gets pretty globby. So have a bunch of different cuts, or if you're going to use ferns or whatever, just trade them out between colors, so you're not like laying this on the rifle and getting that paint on where you don't want it. You don't want to glob up. Obviously, if you're doing it just for real world use, doesn't matter. But if you're trying to make it look cool, trying to make like an aesthetically pleasing rifle, swap it out between. I also hit between each coat with a heat gun for a second. I'm not going to show it on camera, it's boring, but just so you guys know, if you have access to this, it does help. Being out in the heat, like in the summer like this, helps as well. But I like to just kind of flash cure in case there was a spot that I laid on pretty heavy. This kind of helps. And I do it for like, a couple seconds, nothing crazy. All right, next up, I'm gonna use this cool green color from Airvo. This color is awesome. It's almost like a moss green. They call it light green, but no idea what color this would be in the Rapco line. Hopefully I can figure it out at some point, because I really do like this color. It's the only can I have left. Almost empty. Hopefully it gets through this paint job. All right, to add a few highlights, I'm actually going to go back to this orange real quick, and then I'll move on to some of the more prominent colors. All right, now is where it's going to really start to get more defined. I'm going back to this brown, and then I think I'm going to do a dark green and that field drab to finish it off, because lately I've been really liking that as like the last color, and then it'll really come together, and I'll show you guys some better close-up looks in a minute. All right, the Rust-Oleum, which one is this? Deep Forest Green. This is their dark green. It's a good color. I wish it was a little more olive and a little less dark, or I wish they would kind of get rid of their lighter green and replace it with a more olive green, but this is a good color. I'm going to go back to this before I do the field drabs. This is that green from Airbo. I think I want this one to have just a little more of this like moss green color on top. All right, probably the last color for this one, and then I'll show you guys, is the field drab. Thank you, Winnie. All right, guys, so here it is. I took a little bit of the painter's tape off, but I gotta still grab a few more. I'll do that off camera. Let me give it a couple days to cure, and I'll make sure I give you guys a better view of it on an upcoming video. I'll do some shooting in the woods with this guy and get it all fully put back together. But I think it turned out pretty good. I had a few cans that liked to splatter some paint. I got a little more texture than I necessarily wanted, but it's still perfectly functional. Yeah, you can see right there, I got a little bit of splatter. That doesn't really bother me. If it does for you, you might want to really make sure you have new cans or heat them up, shake them up real good, and that shouldn't be as much of a problem. Or if you're getting a nozzle that's spritzing, just replace it. Doesn't really bother me too much, but I think it turned out pretty good. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. If you like this content, please consider subscribing. Hit that thumbs up button. Comment down below. Share it with your buddies if it's something they're into. All that good stuff. I appreciate you watching. And head over to my website if you want to support us that way. All right. Till next time, guys. Get out and train.